A very warm welcome to everyone who has joined for this virtual presentation. Thankful to the Tomorrow People organization for giving me an opportunity to present in front of you at 5th International Conference on Spirituality and Psychology through this virtual platform. My name is Vineet Gairola. I teach psychology at Ambedkar University, Delhi, India. And the land of India is really mysterious. It has always been mysterious. In each and every corner in this terroir, you'd find something unique, perplexing, and interesting. And the topic and research area for today's presentation is also combining spirituality, psychology, and this perplexing nature that we find in one of the states of this land, Uttarakhand. So the title of today's presentation is Uttarakhand as a research field. Now, before jumping to Uttarakhand as a state and my research idea, firstly let me theorize about research field. So the research field is not just geographical, that I did some research in Uttarakhand and I came back and now I'm giving you a research presentation. So the field is not geographical, that stayed only in Uttarakhand. Research field is something that remains even with you after forgetting has taken place. So the research field is very much present here, within me and without me here. And between us, as you are listening to this, and wherever you are sitting, standing or listening to this presentation, there is also a research field. Interesting point, that research field is not something geographical, it is also psychological, psychical, not just topographical, but there are some psychic elements inherent whenever we talk about any research field. So now I'm taking Uttarakhand, one of the states of this land of India, one of the Central Himalayan regions part, as a research field, very much alive and present. So in many cultures, ethnographers have attempted to theorize possession phenomena in myriad of ways. In Uttarakhand, one of the parts of Central Himalayan region, an interesting meaning-making process and healing mechanism takes place. Some people get possessed by deities and shower blessings onto people partaking in a ritual in a temple like a puja. Then there is Jaga ritual. Jag means to awake indigenous spirits and deities to create a transaction between this world and the realm of the spirits. Then there is palanquin of goddess, which is known as devi ki doli, which is worshipped. This palanquin of goddess is kept onto the shoulders of two people and it is said to be shaking and tilting on its own. Ancient symbols and practices survive effortlessly through these rituals. Now there are some priest mediums of different temples who often at night, without any conscious awareness, go to certain places like some faraway land of top parts of the mountains, a certain forest, or in a river, and they take bath there at night without any conscious awareness. So they are not aware as to how we actually landed up in this place, and they go there bare feet. And those instances are referred to as devi ki pariksha, a test by the deity within which they are getting possessed, a test by a deity to check whether this representative is capable of being my medium or not. So there are two lenses actually to look at this phenomena. One is the lens of clinical psychology, pathology, dissociation, trance disorder, culture-bound syndromes. On the other hand, there is healing which is taking place through them, and people who take part in rituals join their hands and tears of ecstasy roll down their cheeks. So there is in psychological terms, catharsis also taking place. So we cannot disregard these experiences too quickly. So a detailed analysis of what happens in Uttarakhand, all the spiritual practices, would take us as much into mysticism as they will take us into the unconscious. Hence, the intermingling of this research field, psychology and spirituality. Now, to give you a basic grounding, let me share a video with you so that you can also make sense of what I am talking about. The palanquin of goddess worship, as I was talking earlier, here you can see there is a palanquin of a god known as Ashtabhareshwar, manifestation of Lord Shiva. Now you can see that there is this priest who is through mantras, through chanting, trying to invoke the deity Ashtabhareshwar into this palanquin, which is carried on the shoulder of two people. And then there are two esoteric instruments, dhol and damauñ, which are played, which are also an essential component of inducing this trance. They have their own complex and unique mythology that we'll discuss later on. Firstly, see this video. Something interesting happened. This palanquin of god Ashtabhareshwara was appearing that it is jumping on its own. It felt like something light. And again in another video you'll see that there is a different case where this palanquin of Ashtabhareshwara becomes really heavy. Approximately 5 to 6 people were holding that palanquin of god Ashtabhareshwara, which in the previous video you saw that palanquin was jumping on its own. It was appearing like that. So here you see an interesting connection between spirituality and psychology. The central task of this research is to unveil the mystery that revolves around the world of local deities, because they are entwined in the daily lives of the entire community. Now in this time of crisis where people feel isolated at maximum strength, as you can witness, the stress of modern life as well as the coronavirus pandemic. So in this time of crisis where people feel isolated at maximum strength, it is crucial to understand the nature of divine in these lines. Michael Eigen, one psychoanalytic psychotherapist, has already talked about a psychotic core inherent in all of us, as dreams are also kind of hallucination. So this research also aims to understand the function of this psychotic core in experiences which are labeled as dissociative disorders or trance or spiritual experiences or culture bound experiences and so on. So as Michael Eigen says, this research is about touching the unseen that touches us. Carl Jung has something significant to offer us, because whenever we talk about psychology and spirituality, the realm of subjectivity would enter, and it is not something that we should be afraid of. As Carl Jung said, the object of psychology is psychic. Unfortunately, it is also its subject. So we do not have to shy away from this realm of subjectivity to give meaning to whatever we are researching about in the field of spirituality and psychology. Fritjof Capra said something significant. He said that analysis of lived experience has to be an integral part of any science of consciousness. And again, Carl Jung has to offer something significant here, that medical psychology and spiritualistic healing methods have something in common. And what is that in common? Carl Jung says they both have same basic ideas and images which are characteristic of the nature of collective unconscious. So remember, initially I said that the detailed analysis of rituals of Uttarakhand Himalayas will take us as much into mysticism as they will take us into the unconscious. But Carl Jung is offering a third, that not just unconscious but also the deep down archetypal collective unconscious with the help of these symbols that you saw, the deities, palanquin, and so on. Now the important research questions that we would see for this research. First is to explore what does it mean to be possessed by divine beings. How is it that something which is uniquely realistic shares a lot in common with that which is generally pathological? The second research question is, are the experiences culture bound or our own explanations are culture bound? How can we understand the interplay between mad and divine in this realm of spiritual trances and possession? And the most significant, the third research question of this research is to understand the challenges these spiritual mechanisms can pose to psychology the way it is today. So, important question, is psychology really equipped to understand these experiences and what these experiences can pose as a challenge to psychology as an established discipline the way it is today? So the method for this research would be ethnography, and it is not just a method, it is a theoretical paradigm, a philosophical paradigm as well. So as I said earlier, that this research field is not just present in Uttarakhand, present very much here when I am giving this presentation, and between us and within and without you, everywhere, wherever you are listening to this virtual presentation. So the task here is neither to pathologize spiritual experiences or to spiritualize pathological phenomena. It asks for a fair, dispassionate study and investigation. We have not yet reached to a full understanding of entire range of human experiences. We cannot say that we know everything about it. Hence, the researches are going on. So this research is also an endeavor to give meaning to one of the range of human experience that finds its place in spirituality, psychology, pathology, and meaningful relation with the culture itself. So this research aims at giving voice to the participants. So it is not just you are being a distant observer like a psychoanalyst with a cigar in hand and writing about your interpretations, but involving in the entire process of research. And madness is so closely entwined with that of religious life that it asks for exploring and analyzing the points of similarity and uniqueness. To understand whether our experiences are culture bound or the explanations are culture bound. To understand the realm of good and evil operating in culture and psychiatry. So instead of imagining a conclusion, this research seeks to create grounds for further opening, to create a critical dialogue and discussion between psychoanalysis, anthropology, sociology, spirituality, clinical psychology, and so on. If what happens in rituals of Uttarakhand is madness, then it is not as we know it. It has certain grounds, which can create further openings, further meaningful openings. That was one of my aims, to give you a sense of the other in spirituality and psychology, to look at the otherworldly and this worldly, that they are very much part of this world itself. If you have any questions, you can write to me at VINEETWORKZ, vineetworks@gmail.com. Again, thankful to Tomorrow People organization, and Vineet signing out.